Jordan is where you will see buildings carved in rocks, the mountain from which Moses saw the promised land, many desert castles, and stunning desert landscapes. Get to know Jordan better. Jordan borders Syria and Iraq to the north, Saudi Arabia to the east and south, and Israel to the west. In this particular setting, it appears to be a truly impressive country with numerous ancient buildings. Nevertheless, Jordan is often overlooked when planning a vacation, which is completely undeserved considering all the things there are to discover. The capital itself, Amman, is worth the trip. Mystical ghost towns and mysterious rock landscapes shape the image of Jordan. Added to this is the tradition of the local inhabitants. Thanks to the friendly people of Jordan, one can quickly feel at home there. On the highest hill of Amman, there is a citadel from which one can admire the entire panorama of the city. Throughout Amman, you'll find some impressive ruins, such as the columns of ancient temples and the remains of the statue of Hercules. Umayyad Palace, or rather its remains where the ceiling of the dome is particularly impressive, is worth the attention. So be sure to go inside. The Roman theater, which dates back to the 2nd century AD and can accommodate 6,000 people, is a real gem of Amman. In the city center, you will find some small, sometimes hidden sights, but you can also taste fruit, vegetables, spices, and meat, or buy dates for a snack. You don't have to take notes. We have included all the practical info in the description below the video. That's where you can also find links with accommodation, tickets to attractions, and tips on how to pay abroad so as not to overpay on currency conversions. Jebel Amman is one of the 7 original hills of Amman. There are many small cafes and restaurants on the Rainbow Street, leading up to the top and in the surrounding streets. There are many beautiful old houses. Jordan River Foundation and Wild Jordan are also located there. Petra is the legendary city of the Nabateans and one of the most famous cities in the south of Jordan. More precisely, it is only a burial place of the Nabateans, as it is not clear where they really live to this day. Built between 300 BC and 100 BC, the city was also inhabited by the Romans, who built their own temples there. In 363 AD, the city was destroyed by an earthquake and remained forgotten until the beginning of the 19th century. It is best to plan your visit from the high place of sacrifice to the Attire monastery and to the Aqaba trail. Of course, you must see the Al-Ghazni treasury, which is Petra's most famous building. It is best to arrive there in the evening to leave early in the morning, as there are many tourists during the day. Probably everyone has seen Wadi Rum, as many movies were shot there. The view of sunsets alone makes it worth staying a few days longer there to admire their beauty. A great way to explore the area is to take a jeep tour and visit typical tourist spots. Be sure to go to Jebel Ash and Jebel Adami, the highest peak in Jordan with a fantastic view of the desert, which definitely makes the climb worth it. From the top of Jebel Adami, you can see the border with Saudi Arabia, which is only a few kilometers away. A camel ride, which is worth planning in the meantime, will probably be a real attraction for many. Aqaba and South Beach are an absolute paradise for diving. Corals and fish will delight everyone. You can also see the sunken wreck of a huge freighter, a tank, and a recently sunk plane. The Roman ruins of Qais, also known as Gadara, date back to the 3rd century BC. Although an earthquake devastated the region in the 8th century, many buildings have been preserved to this day. On the main road, you can even see the tracks of old horse-drawn carriages. There are remains of several temples, a nymphaeum, and 2 theaters. There is also a vantage point from which you can see Lake of Gennesaret, the Golan Heights, and parts of Syria. In good weather, you can even look over Lebanon. Ajloun Castle dates back to the time of the Crusaders, but was built by their Jordanian enemies. Its construction was supposedly commissioned by Saladin himself. Overlooking beautiful mountains and valleys, it is definitely worth a visit. In 1260, the fortress was attacked by the Mongols and partially destroyed. It has been rebuilt many times over the centuries, which is visible on the walls and gates. Desert castles are best explored on a day trip. With a driver from Amman, why are the buildings called castles is unclear. In fact, only one of them is actually a kind of a fortress. Amra is a beautiful building that was probably used as a kind of hunting castle. Not only is there a large hall with fantastic frescoes on the walls, but also a Roman bath with wall paintings, and probably the oldest image of the constellations in the dome. It has been included on the UNESCO World Heritage List since 1985. There is also a museum in the entrance area with some interesting information. Azraq means blue in Arabic and refers to the oasis in the area. Qasr is an ancient Roman castle with interesting architecture. The arches are made without mortar. In the middle of the courtyard there is a mosque that was probably built by the Umayyads. Mount Nebo is said to be where Moses first saw the Holy Land and also died. There is a church with amazing mosaics. The view of the Jordan Valley is simply stunning. For a slightly surreal experience, visit the LA Storia Museum just down the road. Madaba is famous for its well-preserved mosaics, including the most famous one on the map of the Middle East. From Lebanon to the Nile Delta and from the Mediterranean Sea to the Eastern Desert, which can be admired in the Church of St. George. Other mosaics can be found in the archaeological park. The city offers, however, more than just mosaics. Madaba is small enough to explore all the streets on foot. You will find there many small shops where you can buy souvenirs, drink tea, and talk to the locals. The Dead Sea, which is one of the saltiest lakes in the world, is another must-see point on the sightseeing map of Jordan. Unfortunately, there are no public beaches here, so you either have to stay overnight in one of the expensive luxury hotels or buy a day pass. Drifting on the water is really interesting. After swimming on the beach, you can rub yourself with black mud, which is sold at the spas for a lot of money. There are also showers on the beach to rinse the mud, but be careful as even here the water is salty. Wadi Mujib is also called the Grand Canyon of Jordan, listed as a UNESCO reserve for 10 years. It offers unique flora and fauna. The best way to discover is a canyoning expedition, which is however only offered during the dry season. A total of 7 tributaries from the surrounding mountains feed the Mujib River, which flows through a spectacular gorge into the Dead Sea. Beautifully situated Mon hot springs with several pools and some small waterfalls have become a tourist attraction in recent years as you can rest and relax there. Dana Reserve is a huge nature reserve with many hiking trails. It's basically a huge canyon with accommodation spots at the top at Dana Village or at the bottom where the canyon flows into the Wadi Aqaba. There is a wide choice of hiking trails, but most of them can only be taken with a guide. You can see many rare plants and animals there. Jordan is often referred to as the Switzerland of the Middle East and is a very safe tourist country. Ongoing protests, mostly from students, are usually peaceful. Hospitality in Jordan is very high and the crime rate is relatively low. Metal detectors at the entrance to the hotels are normal and are intended to give tourists a sense of security. Almost all Jordanians are Sunni Muslims and too much exposed skin bothers them. Headgear should not be worn. In modern Amman, even female residents do not wear headscarves. One should dress fairly casually. A t-shirt is perfectly fine with long fabric pants or a long skirt. First of all, because of the warmth. Airy things are practical. Shorts or shorter skirts can be worn without any problems, both in cities like Petra and in the resorts by the Dead Sea. The best time to travel to Jordan is spring, from March to May, and autumn from September to October. The days are warm and the nights are pleasantly cool. In the summer, the heat can become unbearable, and in the winter you can expect rain, which leads to local flooding and snowfall. Jordan impresses with its beautiful landscape and traditions. If a visit to a mosque is planned, women should have a headscarf and wear it in the temple. After all, it is a Muslim country and customs prevailing there should be respected. A friendly nod is preferable to a handshake greeting in Jordan. Hospitality is common for the Jordanians. Therefore, an invitation to a dinner or a cup of coffee is nothing unusual. Traveling with children is also not a problem as the Jordanians are especially hospitable to them. There is something for everyone in Jordan. If you prefer exciting adventures, it is worth going on a trekking trip to the desert and visiting the Bedouins who live there to this day. You can also dive to see the underwater world up close. Water activities are possible around the Red Sea, however, the Dead Sea has a more relaxing atmosphere. There, the emphasis is put on well-being and relaxation because the salt water has a healing effect. Of course, a camel ride is a hit and must not be missed. When looking for suitable accommodation, you can come across different types of hotels. In Amman, there are a lot of large, world-renowned chains and resorts which offer practical, all-inclusive packages and English-speaking staff. Similar hotels can be found in other tourist spots. Holiday packages are offered that allow you to plan your entire stay. Anyone looking for a health resort can take up a trip along the Red Sea. Some of the hotels offer rooms with balconies and direct sea views. There are also smaller accommodation spots with a Jordanian vibe that offer peace and relaxation away from the main resorts. The same, of course, applies to many wellness and spa centers around the Dead Sea. There is also a special attraction in the Wadi Rum desert. You can spend the night directly in a Bedouin tent, which can be booked on site at the visitor center and is a truly interesting experience. You can enjoy the peace of the desert and a cheerful meeting by the fire. Add joyful traditional Arabic music to that and forget about the whole world. Jordanian cuisine offers something for everyone. The main meal in Jordan is meat. Jordanian cuisine is famous for such delicacies. Vegetarians should opt for meze, that is starters whose selection is really large. Mansaf is the national dish of Jordan. It is rice often mixed with nuts and dried fruit with delicate lamb on the top and sauce, most often made of goat yogurt, which is the main ingredient. Mashawi are different types of meat prepared on a charcoal barbecue. The most popular are shish kebab, kofta kebab, and shish tavuk. These are marinated lamb or chicken skewers that are diced or fried as mincemeat. As a side dish, you can usually choose between rice, bread, and fries. Shawarma is finely chopped pieces of meat arranged in skewers and then evenly grilled on all sides. The specialty is then wrapped in bread together with garlic sauce and vegetables. It resembles a doner but is more oriental and really delicious. Don't forget about desserts. Those in Jordan are really sweet. Almost all delicacies that are offered are topped with sugar syrup and honey. Alternatively, you can also order fruit. A cup of fresh mint tea is traditionally served with this. You can also order Turkish coffee. Kanafe deserves attention too. The base is a piece of soft cheese that has no distinct flavor. It is wrapped with thin strands of dough, also known as pasta strands, soaked in sugar syrup and then baked. The official language in Jordan is Arabic. While traveling, you can speak English in many places and with many locals. First of all, tour guides and people working in the tourism industry speak excellent English. However, it is good to learn the most important words in a given language. Jordan offers so many attractions that it is hard to plan the whole stay. Everyone can find the right trip for himself or herself. Regardless of whether someone is planning to admire beautiful landscapes or explore desert and rocky landscapes actively, Jordan has it all. This country has a lot to offer, and it will surely be. Anyone who dreams of an oriental journey and holidays like in 1001 Nights book will be enchanted by Jordan. It is a jewel of the desert that amazes with natural phenomena. You can admire magnificent starry sky and stunning colorful underwater world there. If you're already planning your trip, you can find accommodation and tickets to attractions on the spot in the links under the video description. You can also order a card for cheap payments abroad the same way. Press the bell and subscribe to our channel if you want to receive notifications about new episodes. Have a nice trip.